Wow. What is coverage? Oh, absolutely.
All right, all right, all right. It's Thursday night. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Angie's Angles. It is May the 29th in the year of my Lord 2025. And as the title on tonight's episode says, Soto continues his slump. Now, last week I brought you his first 50 games with the Padres and his first 50 games with the New York Metropolitans. And my goodness, if it wasn't an exact mirror. And if you all remember, he split 2021 between the Nationals and the Padres, where he hit a paltry 249 with 27 home runs, 63 RBIs. It was a horrendous season for this guy. And I'm going to predict it's not going to get any better this season. There's something wrong. Tom, what's going on? Dialing it up from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. And I want to welcome into the lounge Tom's friend Dave. Welcome, Dave. Harold, Eric, Harold, I am interstatal. Where's Clark? I mean, Clark's got a lot to be happy about with his Cardinals going to town. I mean, he's crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, Tom, there's something amiss with one Juan Soto. Now, recently, Tom, there's been some rumors that his age, he might be maybe 32, maybe 31, as opposed to 26. But I'm not buying that. I think Cohen and his vast wealth vetted the guy. I don't buy the age fraud. I'm buying that Soto doesn't have a reason to do well. Does that make sense? Now some guys wanna prove their worth. They want to come over. And let's not kid anybody. He got off to had a pretty solid spring training with the New York Metropolitans. John, no sous vide for me. So, Soto, I looked at some stats today, and his bat speed is down by about 2 to 3 miles per hour through the zone. He's taken a lot of pitches right down the middle. Lefties are having an immense field day with Juan Soto. He can't seem to hit a lefty if he had a 2x4 at the plate. If you know what I mean. So I'm very happy to see Juan Soto in the third spot and Pete Alonso in the cleanup spot. I think that is perfect. I think the Mets finally listened into an Angie's Angles episode. They put on their thinking caps and said, you know what? Not a bad idea. Yeah, Harold, it makes perfect sense. I mean, there's no benefit from him doing well. He's guaranteed $750 million. And he just might have that personality a la Bobby Bonilla. You can't wipe the smile off my face. How'd that work out, Bobby? Except that we're paying you through the year 2035, apparently. I think that's what it was, 2035. $1 million a year, you bum. So, I really gotta try to understand what's going on with Soto. Do we bench him? Now you got the Rockies coming into town. It might be I wouldn't bench him with the Rockies, but then I think we're headed to play the Braves coming up. Maybe I sit him in the game and see what goes on. Maybe clear his head out, do something. Yeah, send him to a voodoo doctor. I don't care what you do, but something's got to be done with Juan Soto. Even post game celebrations, in game celebrations, home run celebrate. He's nowhere to be found. He's not a team guy at the moment. I'm not going to say that he's incapable of becoming a team guy, but does he have that A-Rod mantra, if you will, that, it's me, 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 and me. It's all about me. So Juan Soto's a very frustrating enigma. However, with that said, the Mets are still getting it done. We're still getting it done. We've got the best team record in all of baseball against teams that are 500 and above. You know, here come the Rockies. What are we going to do about them, though? Harold, I'd make him the ball boy or the water boy for a game and a half. See how he likes them apples. I mean, Steve Cohen, David Stearns, Carlos Mendoza. Who? Who's Carlos Mendoza? I have no idea who this guy is. And how many guys are we going to allow to get hit by on the New York Mets? How many guys are we going to allow the other team to come high and inside on our guys without retaliating? We still own the best pitching staff in the universe, bar none. And I got this stupid feeling, right? We're pitching lights out, and we're barely squeaking out wins here and there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Mr. McKessie, you tag me every day. We communicate. You throw out all these stats that the Mets, got the second best record in all of baseball, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not blah, 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 and I'm blah, 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 and the Mets for the fact that we're getting it done with a lot of smoke and mirrors at the moment, okay? But I have this sneaky, undying suspicion that our offense is going to wake up and our pitching is going to go south. Now, we've got a lot of hope on the horizon. We got, Montas, Blackburn, Manea, all coming back relatively soon, about the end of June, maybe Manea a tad bit sooner. We got Mauricio tearing the ball up down in AAA, doing a good job. So the question that gets presented is, when these guys come off the DL, and I will never call it the IL, it's the DL, it's a disabled list. They're disabled. They're not able to play because of an injury. I mean, if I get into a car crash and I can't go to work, I'm not on the injured list. I'm on the DL. I'm disabled. I'm hobbling. I can't make it to work. So you'll never hear me say anything but the DL. And Rob Manfred and his infinite wisdom, they're just ruining baseball. I mean, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Whitey, they're all turning in their freaking graves. Every last one. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. They're like, what is this game? Larger bases, 2 disengagements. What the hell's a ghost runner, for God's sakes? It's not Halloween. I don't understand. I really don't understand. So Soto just looks completely lost. And I've said this. I said this in the beginning of the season. And I'll say it ad nauseum until I can't say it no more. Soto is dragging his bat through the zone. There's no snap on his swing. And he's very uncertain. How many times did he roll over the ball to the second baseman or the first baseman with a lot of runners in scoring position? Now, the Mets overall, with the RISP, we're abysmal. We're awful. We couldn't hit ourselves out of a wet paper bag if there's runners in scoring position. I mean, listen, yeah, we're what, 2 games, 2.5 out of first, comfortably in second place. The Braves just dropped 2 to the Phillies. They're playing a doubleheader. The Phillies took the first game. See what happens in game 2. But we're not on all cylinders like we were, mid-June of last year, where we went on this just tremendous best record in baseball streak, and then we carried it off into the playoffs, and we were 1 series away from the World Series. So call me what you will. Hey, Sharon, how are you, love? Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. Call me what you will. I'm a Debbie Downer, whatever you want to call me. Harry Hater. I don't care what you call me, but I live and breathe the New York Mets. We all know this. It's my ultimate passion in life. I bleed blue and orange, and I have a right to be upset with their performance. Lindor's cooled off. Alonso's starting to hit home runs again. So, he didn't have a home run, the whole month of May, for God's sakes. He had 10, then he had none. So I mean, Tyrone Taylor. And let's talk about center field. And I brought this up, I think it was 2 episodes ago. Can we never, ever, in the history of our franchise, play Jeff McNeil in center field? He is not a center fielder. And who, by the way, also is not a center fielder is Brandon Nimmo. Hashtag Nimmo sucks. If you know what I mean. So there's been some hot rumors, right? The Lewis Roberts White Sox rumors died down. Now there's a new rumor floating around the internet. Cedric Mullins from the Baltimore Orioles, who have spit the bit. I mean, they went from championship quality last year to competing with the White Sox for the second worst record in baseball, for God's sakes. And we all know who owns the best record is the Colorado Rockies. And now, if I got really good odds on the Rockies sweeping the Mets, I just might take it. Hey, Everyday Mets, what's going on? How are you? Where you from, Everyday? Thanks for logging on. I appreciate you very much. So, maybe Lloyd's of London or somebody's taking bets on the Rockies sweeping the Mets at 1,001 odds, and maybe I'll throw $5 on that. If you know what I mean. Oh man, I'm running out of juice on my ladder. So we got the bad boy lit up. We're smoking the Perdomo Habano rather. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, Harold. I mean, the Cubs took care of business as they should. But my Metropolitans, I mean, we get the White Sox, and yeah, we took 2 or 3, but it was the hardest 2 games to win ever. I mean, we just waited to the last minute to win both those games. Eric Floyd, I am duo in the Stato. And Eric, thanks for reminding me. A shout out to Eric's daughter's team, the Cubs, who are getting it done. Eric, where do you live, buddy? I forget where you live, down south somewhere. But the Cubs are in first place, and it's not your Cubs, Harold. It's the Little League Cubs, and they're doing very, very, very well. So, Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, Harold, the Cubs. Where's Clark? The Cardinals. They're all holding their own, respectively. They're doing a great job. But this is a Met podcast, so we can't spend too much time on them. So it happens on rare occasions that I root for another team as heartily as I root for the New York Mets. If the Skankies are playing the A's, yeah, whatever. I'm not, I'll root for the A's, but not passionately. Tonight, I'm a Dodger fan. I tell you. Go beat those damn Skankies. Make Judge look like he has no idea what he's doing out there. That's going to be an interesting series, a repeat of last year's World Series for those that are in the know. And if you're not, the Mets were 1 series away from facing the Skankies in the World Series last night, and our pitching gave way last year. Our offense was definitely up to par for that series, but our pitching failed us, and it was no surprise. We rode that pony way further than anybody was going to give anybody credit. Now, I'll give you one thing. Kevin Elliott, my buddy down in Hollywood, Florida, he bragged about the Mets pitching staff. He absolutely was all over it. I give him kudos. I was having angina attacks on our rotation. Let's not lose sight of what Carlos Quintana is doing over there in Milwaukee, for God's sakes. I mean, he's pitching lights out too. Harold, my prophecy of Tucker having a better season than Soto, unfortunately, sadly for me and the Metropolitans is coming true. He's having a phenomenal season as I anticipated, as I predicted that he would for the Cubs. So kudos to the Cubs, Kyle Tucker, and Craig Counsell and the rest of the team. We're what? We're basically a quarter of the way, 1/3 of the way through the season. We're 1/3 of the way through the season, more than one quarter. We're sitting at 32 victories. We're a good 11 games over 500. There's a lot to be happy for if you're a New York Met fan. A lot. A lot. Beatty's kind of found himself again, and he's proven to be a much, much, much better defender than Vientos. And that's probably saving Beatty. Either that or it's increasing his value, because I do think the Mets are still very invested in Mark Vientos. And if they get an excellent offer for Beatty, I think they would listen. So, Harold, tell me, the Tucker signing was a 1-year deal? I thought it might have been a 2-year deal. I could be wrong. Um, you know, let's get back to the Juan Soto enigma. And I've looked at tapes from years before, and his swagger is lost. And now, don't get me wrong, a funk, a slump, that'll do it to you. And I'll give you an example. And I always incorporate personal stories into my podcast. It's been a hell of a week for me at work this week. Hell of a week. And sometimes that happens to you. And some days you just got to walk away and say, I'm going to get them tomorrow. But there's only X amount of tomorrows in one's career. Now, I said this, and I don't want to jinx it, but Juan Soto is on pace on replicating his 2021 season. And if that's accurate, and if it winds up to be so at the end of the season, and only time's going to tell us, it just validates my claim that don't make any mistakes. I didn't want Soto for a lot of reasons. The primary reason was the amount of money being spent on him, $750 million over what, 15 years, 13 years. But I just felt that he wasn't the missing piece. Now, if Soto is true and 26 years old, and I don't buy the pressure part, I'm not buying it. I'm really not buying the pressure part. It's a game of baseball. He came from the Bronx to Queens. It's a trip across the bridge. I think Soto could be pressing, or like I started off my podcast saying, that there's no motivation there. There's no motivation for the guy. His family is set for generations to come. You don't just stumble out of bed onto $750 million every day. It's a lot of money. And it's a lot of Cohen money. It's a lot of David Stern's looking at the analytics. He still has time. He certainly still has time to rebound. But as the at-bats tick away, so does his time. And Tom, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Everyday Mets. Let's put you on the big screen, buddy. Soto is having a Lindor 2024 season. Soto will have an MVP caliber season by October. Everyday Mets, from your lips to God's ears. And I did make reference to that, right? Piazza spoke about that coming over to the Mets from the Marlins. How, there were at times he was getting booed because the expectation level was so high. And Lindor, the same thing. He signed a $310 million contract, being the cure-all, go-all, and he floundered his 2024 season. Yeah. Harold, or Soto is just a punk. I can't even watch the look on his face in the highlight reels. There's no heart there. And that's what I've been chomping at the bit with Harold. It just looks like Soto is ho-hum. And he's allowing a lot of balls right down the middle to pass him by. And he's hesitant in pulling the trigger. And he recognizes the pitch way too late. And that could be a reason why his bat speed is slower by 3 miles an hour or so. And that's a big, big deal. You're not wrong every day. You're not wrong. People said Lindor was ho-hum and no heart also. Yes. And articles have just recently come out, to be honest. And Soto's been quoted saying that Lindor genuinely cares for the team. He cares for you as a person. He cares for you as a teammate. He cares for you as an organizational player. He cares for you. Lindor has turned the page and has won the fans of New York over tenfold. Now it's your turn, Mr. Soto. All it's going to take is a game-winning hit, a massive mammoth home run, and you're going to turn us just like that. We'll be hooting and hollering until the cows come home. But I don't know how much rope we could afford to give him. We're stuck with him for the length of the contract, for sure. But how long do you carry Juan Soto? And that's an interesting statement. Soto's supposed to be carrying us. And baseball, there is no I in baseball. It's a team game for sure. But once in a while, you got to bring something to the table. Now, if you had Juan Soto, stellar defense in right field, and a paltry 238 batting average, you win! Yeah, you're not wrong every day. You're married to Juan Soto. You got no choice but to carry him. However, maybe you make him a DH against the Rocky series, right? Maybe we throw McNeil in right field, Taylor in center, hashtag Nimmo sucks in left, and let him DH these 3 games against Colorado. Analytically, we should have no problems handling Colorado, but that's why you play 162 games, because any given team on any given day can win the game. It's a lot to digest here tonight on Angie's Angles. And I don't want to keep every podcast being Juan Soto's the focal point of my angst. Maybe he's going to give me something in this Colorado series. Maybe it's what the doctor ordered. A crappy team coming to town with crappy pitching. Now, the weather, again, is not going to be favorable. It looks like rain tomorrow, rain Saturday, and Sunday looks like the only halfway decent day. With that said, if I'm Carlos Mendoza, who? Maybe I DH him 1, if not 2 games in the Colorado series. Take his mind off the field. Let him focus on all the at-bats that his teammates are seeing. Let him understand and digest it a little bit better. Give him a different viewpoint coming from the dugout. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and usually I'm abound with answers. But I'm mystified that a guy of his caliber, with a track record of power, ability to make contact with the ball. I mean, he's striking out. He's rolling the ball over. These outs aren't hard outs. I mean, Eric Floyd's Little League team could get him out on the ground balls hitting to second base and first base, for God's sakes. So we're going to give him the Colorado series. We'll see what he could do. It's my humble opinion that we DH him one, if not two, out of the 3 games against Colorado. And DH him on the worst weather day. Let him be in the dugout. Maybe he's too cold out there. Lindor complained about that all the time. Too chilly. And even Lindor, he turned around his 2024 season, as Everyday Mets eloquently stated here on Angie's Angles. So this was a little different Angie's Angles this week, a little subdued. I'm trying not to get the blood pressure up to critical points. And let's see what happens against Colorado. All kicks and giggles, we should sweep them. We should have no problem handling the Colorado Rockies. But like I said, any given team on any given day can win the ball game. I mean, we took the first 2 hard against Chicago, and then we came out flat. I mean, Cannon gave up some runs, his first kind of bad game of the season. And while we're at that, and we only got 4 minutes left, while we're at that, Carlos Mendoza just going to the bullpen too early. Let these guys pitch. Allow them the opportunity to log a W. So, I don't know. All right, it's prayer circle time. This week we got Harold, your brother-in-law Frank, triple bypass, going squared. We're praying for them. Scott Tobias, we're praying for your wife and your mom. Linda, Grandma Stein, we're praying for your dad, yourself, and your daughter's family. Mark Brooks giving us updates. The house, they're buying furniture, they're moving in. Good job, Mark Brooks and Tony. Kevin Elliott, we're praying for you down in Florida as you still deal with your health challenges. Kraus family, we're praying for all you guys. Clark, we remain steadfast in our prayers for your brother-in-law Brad and your sister Trish. Deb and Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for you guys. Marianne Bello, we're praying for your mom out in Las Vegas. Larry Levy, we're praying for your wife Frida as her cancer remains in remission. Mr. McGowan, sir, we still have your 6, my friend. Harold's telling us that Frank's surgery went great. He's recovering. Thanks, Harold, for that. I appreciate that. Big John, Cigar Lounge, Smoke Therapy. We're praying for Cousin Richie, Phil's Nona, Brother Angelo's friend Dave. Tom, Paul, and Janet. And we got good news on Janet. We're also adding Jim and Linda, your friends Jim and Linda, who both were recently diagnosed with cancer. Johnny Barbecue, we're praying for your daughter Caitlin. She's recovering from hand surgery. And Johnny, we're praying that you never drop another piece of meat in the water. If you know what I mean. Johnny Vitale, we're praying for your father-in-law John, Kane, and your brother Frank. Joanne, one of the cigar distributors here at Smoke Therapy, we're praying for Angel with the eye stroke. Mike C., we're praying for your dad. We're praying for Ralphie's Aunt Doris, Benny's mom, and Carrie's aunt. I wanted to add one more prayer. My good friend Pete O'Shea, who we're currently in contract negotiations to have Pete as a steady contributor to Angie's Angles. He's thinking about semi-retiring. He'll have a little extra time on his hands. His wife Shani just accepted a brand new job down in Florida. Things are looking up for the O'Shea family, and God is good for that reason. This has been Angie's Angles coming to you live as much as I can. Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. If you're ever in the neighborhood, stop by. Good night. God bless. I love you.